If you can bullshit and you have talent, you ahead of the game.
The inevitable question that I always get asked is, how did you get a Golden Globe winner? How did you get John Saxon, Adrian Zmed, Rick Pitt? How did you get these people in your movie?
3:15. Well, you never call it 3 o'clock if you want them here. You call 2. We're here, brother. Hey, what's happening?
It's going very well. How are you?
Hey, buddy's on.
Pretty good. What's up, punk guys? How are you?
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
Okay. All right, cool. So, Minnie, do you mind, please? Close your hands off. Thanks. All right. So what we're doing, Vin, is all I want to do is I just want to work out a bunch of questions I can ask, because what we're going to do is a documentary for filmmakers about why it's important to get names in their film.
Well, I think a name actor is always going to be like the bounty.
Well, right now they're not going to pick up a magazine because Monica Mallet is on the cover. They're not. But if you walk by and see that same magazine with Beyonce on the cover, it's going to catch your eye.
You think it helps to sell the film to have?
Well, I know it does. I go to the American film market. I've been to.
What do they say there about it?
They always want to have a name.
They always want to have a name.
I mean, look at our climate. Look at the world we live in today with the paparazzi. People are hounding celebrities day and night. People want to see celebrities. So it is good to have a celebrity in your film.
I'm not going to start shooting. I'm in pre-production right now, but I'm not going to shoot a frame until I have a name actor. It's just not going to happen.
I actually approached the American film market in Los Angeles last year before the movie was finished. So a lot of people were looking at the trailer and saying, hey, didn't you come here last year? I mean, why is this movie taking so long? And we actually just got the movie finished.
Airborne, Ranger, then Special Ops, Recovery and Posse. A bunch of black bag Asian boogaboo shit. Files, Cambodia, fucking Golden Train. It's decorated up the ass.
And one of the recommendations that always comes back is, hey, for your next film, try to find somebody who has a bigger name.
He says, are you doing anything else? I said, yeah, I'm doing a feature. It's called Loop. I've been working on it for like 2 years at that point. You know, and he said, do you have a name in it? And I said, no. He goes, oh, that's too bad. True story.
What I wanted to do with this documentary was answer a couple of very basic questions that every filmmaker wants to know about getting a celebrity in their film. And firstly, of course, is will they do it?
Of course I would do an independent film that was extremely modest. Of course I would do an independent film that was essentially a gift.
You know, if I think the person is reasonable and not a little screwy or anything like that, I ask and say, well, send it to me and I'll read it.
I've done plenty of low-budget indies, like with budgets that are under $100,000.
I've done films that cost me money to be in, you know. So you know, it happens often because the script is just fantastic. The character's great. Just did a film with a friend of mine named Arthur Fuller, who, God, I've known Arthur for maybe 15 years. And I think he's been talking about the script for about 10 years. And, you know, yeah, I told him, Arthur, okay, when you get some money, I'll do it, yeah, okay, yeah, hey, man, something's happening, okay, just let me know. You know, and, 10 years later, right. He has the script, Stacking Chips, about these killers. I mean, you want to talk about no budget. I mean, everything was, favor, and I had a great time on it.
Would I do a no-budget, low independent film? Yes, of course.
you know, the budget of the film doesn't matter as much as the script does. If it's a good piece, and if it's a piece that you feel that you can do something in and have some fun, most actors, myself included, will dive in a minute.
I'm only in this for the money, to be God's honest truth.
You're making me shake the camera.
End of interview, Stan.
Okay, so I have a question that I'll reiterate, is what is the point of having these actors in your documentary?
Because they're celebrities.
Right, so what's that for though? What's the point? Is it to sell your documentary? Or is it to, you know, to get to the distributors? Or is it to actually, is it for the filmmakers?
Well, the idea was because when she went to the, you were there at the seminar with me, right? The question I kept asking is, how did you get these people? So it was to answer a question for filmmakers.
Right, it's how, I understand that, it's how to get these actors. But if you're doing this for the filmmaker,
right?
Okay, why don't you just, you know, give it to them free and tell them this is how you do it, A, B, and C.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So and that's the question. You're doing this basically
to sell my film.
To sell your film, or are you doing this to make the film so you can help another filmmaker?
Okay,
John Q. Filmmaker, I want to know how to get these people in there. Why do I want to know how to get these people in there?
Right. Well,
and what's the point?
It was done to help the filmmakers, but I see what you're saying. Yes, I'm going to sell it. I'm not going to give it away for free, because I know what you're saying. But it's but you know what? I don't know that this is what I want. I don't know that I don't want people to get the impression. See, this is tricky. I don't know if I want this.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, just film it anyways, and then cut it out if you have to. I mean, because that's the question basically you're trying to answer.
It makes your project better to have these people, because getting these people shows your audience how they can get these people.
Well, it's more than
that.
What he's saying is that having these people in my documentary means that I can sell the documentary.
Well, it's both.
This actually, ironically, is the same thing that we're trying to do. We're actually trying to educate filmmakers, but at the same time, having these people in my documentary helps me sell the documentary.
Well, right, because that's the outline. That's how it works.
Right.
It's a system that works, and it's going to work for you. And it'll
what
work
if we
for
don't get anyone? What if no one wants to do it?
And you answer the question either way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go and meet a producer friend of mine, Federico, who does films perhaps not in that same range that I do, but more like in that $250,000 to maybe, you know, $1 or $2 million range, and get his perspective on how important it is to get a celebrity or a name in it.
I think the movie industry is a star-driven business. That's what, you know, the reason why celebrities get paid, you know, 10, 20, 30 million dollars is because they generate free publicity, they can book all the talk shows. Therefore, the value of a celebrity is what free publicity they can attract to a picture, which for a distributor is a dream come true, because instead of having to buy full-page ads or billboards throughout a city, you know, the celebrity gets to do the talk show circuits and be interviewed by major magazines.
There's a script I wrote about 10 years ago called Blonde and Blonder. And when I wrote the script, it was meant to be like a female Dumb and Dumber. I saw it as a younger, sexier I Love Lucy kind of movie, PG-13. And when I wrote it, I thought, well, you know, who are some of the bigger blonde comedians out there? And I thought this would be a perfect vehicle for Pamela Anderson and Jenny McCarthy. And we tried to get to them, but they wanted pay-or-play deals, and it never really happened. And for 10 years, it just sort of sat around. And then finally, I got it to a producer who was able to get it to Pamela Anderson's company. And sure enough, the same script that was written 10 years ago, she read, liked the script, and said that she would do it. And they got Denise Richards to play the other blonde.
The last picture I produced was Blonde and Blonder with Pamela Anderson and Denise Richards. And for the first time, out of the pictures that I've been involved, the movie we were able to pre-sell foreign and domestic even before beginning the first day of principal photography.
Get Ed Norton.
Well, let me ask you
I
a
love
question,
Ed Norton,
though.
you know? I mean, why not?
All right, but how do we get to the guy? How do we get to Ed Norton? I don't know anyone who knows Ed Norton.
Well, just say, hey, we're doing a documentary.
Well, that's a question. That's the question. I think that's one of the questions. Is what's the best way to get to an actor?
Getting a script to an actor is a huge challenge. I don't get tons of scripts, so if a script finds its way to me, I'm certainly going to glance at it.
Do you cold call these people? Do you try and find their address? Do you stop them in the street? There are so many do's and don'ts.
I would say, try by hook or by crook to get some sort of reference or personal contact. If you can't get that, find the home address and send it, and also send it FedEx to the agent.
I've had people come up to me, literally with script in
How do
hand,
you
just on the
react
street.
to that? What's
I
your-
love it. I don't care.
Great.
I've got people who hit me on Facebook. I've got people.
So you look at your Facebook.
Oh yeah, I'm always
You're
on
on your
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's always me.
good.
I'm always on there, and I've actually had a couple of scripts sent to me through Facebook.
How'd you go? What about Mike Rydell? He wants me to call him? Okay, hang on. That's great. Thanks, mate. I'll call you later. I'll let you know what happens. Okay, cool. Okay, Mark Rydell. Hello, Mark. This is Stan Harrington. I'm a friend of Michael Donnelly's, and he said that you wouldn't mind if I gave you a call regarding a documentary that I'm shooting. You're never home when you want.
This is the beauty and the magic of not only Hollywood, but life, is that there's so many connections and doors opening and little, and I think this is a small example of who you know. And so I love Blythe, and she emailed me and said, my buddy Stan's doing this documentary, would you be willing to do an interview? And I said, absolutely.
If you don't have a connection or don't have somebody else who knows a connection, if you don't know the person, know the actor, or know their dentist, or know their best friend, or know their girlfriend, if you don't have any connection like that, then you go to their agency representation. You can get their agent or their manager from SAG. They keep a list, and they'll be able to tell you who to approach. And then you just go and you make a straightforward pitch.
It's sometimes good to go through an agent, sometimes not so good to go through an agent. The reason it may not be good to go through an agent is because the agent may never even call you on something.
When you're with a big company like a William Morris or CAA, ICM, they don't let you get to just anybody's scripts.
They may look at this and say there's absolutely no money. It's not even a great role. They just want to use you as a name, as a walk-on, as a cameo kind of thing. So they see no reason for them to make any money out of it, and no reason for me to make any money out of it, or creatively to get anything out of it.
I don't think that agents are too kind to this kind of project because they don't really make much money on it.
I tell my agent that I want to be the one to turn things down.
Yeah.
So they can have attitude when they present it to me, but the bottom line is it's up to me to read and for me to decide.
I've never seen, scripts that come through agencies get read.
They can't see what would be beneficial to the actor.
They go straight from the mail to the trash can.
Whereas the actor, like myself, would say, well, okay, you don't know this and you don't think it's worthwhile and so on like that, and you're not going to make any money, but I'm going to do it. And if there's any money, you'll get your 10% from me. That's what I do.
Do we have a title for this?
Well, I wanted to call it, so you want Harvey Keitel. Because he's like,
So can we get Harvey Keitel?
I don't know, let's try and get Harvey Keitel.
If you want something in Hollywood, you've got to have the personality to go get it. Nothing is gonna just be handed to you here.
Do you think it would be possible to get Harvey Keitel?
I don't see why not.
I think anything's
He's
possible.
isn't he like the godfather of indies?
Do you know him?
Stan. Perfect, Stan. See, that's how you do it.
I happened to be at a Christmas party, and Frankie Valli, from Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons, Sherry baby.
I know I could have made that son of a bitch work. You gotta have a dream, but you gotta act on it.
And then after a while, after we had a conversation and I felt that I built enough trust, I said, man, I got a script. You know, you can say no if you want to, but it's you.
Guarantee that son of a bitch will come back to haunt you one day.
And he loved it. He said, I want to do this for free. It's okay. I'm going to devote the time. I'm going to do it. I got to have an acting career.
I have a young lady that is an extra on a film that not a film, a TV show called Side Outer of Life, plug. It was on Lifetime. The young lady, she came to the play last week, and she's an extra, and she was talking, she just came up to me, she was afraid to go to the lead of the TV show. So she came up to me and she was like, you know, I really love your work, but could you introduce me to Deanna? I just respected her hustle so much that I gave her my email address, and we've kept in touch. She sent me a copy of the script. Now Apollonia is attached to it. You know, we're all signing letters of intent.
At one time, I went to an event, and Sam Jackson was there, and I knew he was going to be there, and I wanted him to do a project that I've written.
Never just give a script to somebody.
You don't walk around giving out your scripts to just anyone, you know, even though it is Sam Jackson, or you just don't do that.
Agent sends them over, some friend hands them something, some, limousine driver gives them a script. They've got a lot of scripts to look at.
I read the first 20, 25 pages and I was like, okay, yeah, I'd like to do this.
Put a précis about the script on the cover page to have a description of the story, a description of the characters. If you are trying to get it specifically to an actor, say why you think that actor would be so wonderful in that part. Perhaps it's something different from what they've ever done.
And how much do you read before you don't? Do you read the whole thing always, or do you read?
No.
Yeah. Do you read 20 pages and are like, I'm done with this, or what?
I always commit to the first 30 pages.
If this is the part that he's talking about, and I can see it from right here already that it would have some things in it that would be fun, then I can go with that. And from those first 20, 25 pages, the script was strong enough that it impelled me to go ahead and finish reading it.
So I think you can certainly tempt an actor by very specifically giving, a snapshot of the story, a snapshot of the style, a snapshot of why you want that actor to play the part.
It's like fishing. You give them a little bit, you try to bait them and hook them and see if they'll be interested and they want to work with the project. And if they don't, they don't. But your whole script is not out there.
So you definitely want to have something to get their attention and to show that you're not just carrying scripts around and handing them to whoever you happen to run into. You can't offer somebody a part just because it would be your dream to have them play it. And it's a part where they say, well, why do you want me to play this? I mean, why would I want to play this? It has to be something they really want to play, if they're a person of stature.
It's a fine balance between knowing how to be enthusiastic and attractive to these people, or enticing would be a better word, and it's a fine line between that and actually going over the edge and being annoying or doing something that would offend them in some ways.
Because sometimes you read some unfortunate turds and you just can't, you just don't have the time.
No, for real.
The commitment.
No, absolutely not.
Sometimes people contact me and they don't stop. And I don't know how they, some people get my number through another person, and they get to me, or they email me constantly and everything. And, I've read it maybe, or they've explained it to me, and I'm not really crazy about it, but they keep on, badgering me, with it, and, until I feel at a certain point I have to get a little bit, not nice about it, and tell them, please, I don't want to do it, or I simply lie and I say I'm busy.
I was in a bathroom when and we were standing next to the actor at the urinal, and someone came up and said, "I've got a screenplay," and we just looked at each other and just went, "Oh my God, no, why now?"
Don't approach them in a restaurant while they're eating. Don't approach them in the bathroom. Don't approach them in any place that would just be rude.
You want to go up to Harvey Keitel in the bathroom at some restaurant and while he's taking a piss? Get up there, sidle up, zip it out. Hey, Harvey. How you doing?
Yeah, I tried to call that guy, dude. He won't return his call. You where? Do you want to swing by for a sec? I just want to go through some of this stuff with you. I tried to call this guy Mike Rydell, man, and he just won't return his call. I mean, I don't get the deal. I mean, people give you...
Yeah, you gotta stay on top of it.
No, I'm calling him. He's not answering his phone.
You gotta just keep leaving messages and messages and messages. It's a brand of behavior, not returning phone calls.
But, and Harvey Keitel, I can't compare to him. The guy's on the board, but he's I don't have, the problem with him is I don't have a direct number. No, I'm just going on IMDb. So what my problem is now, we've got to find somebody who's got name recognition.
What about Michael Madsen?
Michael Madsen's great, but I don't know Michael Madsen. He's
Hold. I think I may be able to give you Michael Madsen.
You can give Michael Madsen?
I don't know Michael personally, but I know a very close relative. And I think I might be able to talk to her and see how she feels about it. And she will, hopefully she'll talk to him and see what he thinks.
Let's call her up, because if I could get him...
I'm not making any promises, I don't know. I mean, these guys, they don't know who's filming what, and they don't know where this film is going. So you gotta understand, they're very cautious about it. But I think the way to do it is I'll talk to Elaine, and I'll ask her what she thinks. Or I'll email her, and we'll take it from there.
If you can get him, I won't need Harvey. I just call him Michael Madsen. I mean, he's just as good.
Let me see. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. What I'll do is when I get home today, I will email. I'll email her. Okay, I'll send her this thing.
Elaine?
Yeah, a very serious filmmaker friend of mine is trying to put out a film that services other filmmakers. In terms of how do you get higher profile actors.
Tell her who's in it too, because that might help. Tell her that Saxon and Holland Taylor. And
I'll tell her that there's other stuff, but I don't think that's
just how way it might make a difference.
It's you. It's really all going to be how you.
Great if it was just me. I don't think it is.
It's how you.
But that's very kind. I appreciate it.
I know. You're a good guy. I mean, you really are. You deserve.
Let's get this. I'm a good guy. Let's get this.
You're a good guy.
It is.
You're a really good guy. And I think you're talented, and I think you really, you put your money where your mouth is,
Except I can't use any of this footage, but I get Michael Madsen.
Yeah, I know.
There is so many ways to skin a cat. It's a saying that I love, many ways to skin a cat, because I've always had to find different ways to do everything, because I'm not typically the sort of person that can get things the traditional way. I don't have the money, I don't have the access, I don't have the contacts. So, one way to meet people will be to immerse yourself in an environment that has those people. For example, there was an information night the other day at the Stella Adler Theatre where Holland Taylor, she's an Emmy winner, she comes and she talks to people about possibly coming to the school.
But I will say quickly, I will touch on from memory, The Truman Show, Next Up Wonderland, Legally Blonde, on television, Bosom Buddies. She won an Emmy for The Practice.
Yeah. Now, I have found that by getting involved at Stella Adler or a school that has that kind of an alumni support, they're the sort of people that I can come into contact with, and it's not necessarily a cold call. And the same would apply if you went to a USC where you get people like Zemeckis and Spielberg and Lucas and AFI and any of those schools that have strong alumni support.
Mark Ruffalo is a Tony Award nominated actor, great actor, works a lot on screen of course, and he's on the board of directors, and very, very involved here. People like Holland Taylor, who is in this...
who's in the documentary,
who you already spoke to, I know, has been very involved here at Stella Adler, LA, Los Angeles, and very supportive of us here at the Los Angeles Adler.
What is it about this school that makes it such a, I don't know, what's the word, conducive to meeting people that are not only people from the past that are famous, but that are still growing through. Like,
A process like the one that is taught here binds people together in a way where they want to work together with other great actors who have a process. And it's not ego-based acting, it's process-based acting. It's serving a play or a screenplay or a teleplay and not serving yourself and your ego. And I think when you have a whole place dedicated to that idea, it attracts people who want to stay here and work that way, and then want to keep working that way. And so you seek people out. We keep seeking one another out to keep working.
When I, showed up here, an idiot from Texas who knew nothing, you and Mark Ruffalo didn't treat me like, hey, I'm Mark Ruffalo, the movie star, and you're the jackass that just showed up. There was something about saying, I too am committing to this sort of way of things, that instantly there was a camaraderie. I don't mean a friendship, I don't mean everybody's pals, but there's a sense of, we want the same kind of thing. And I think when that happens, you just treat people accordingly. For Mark to take half an hour to explain to me why I didn't know shit was, not only did he not have to do that, but he did it in the gentlest and most affirming kind of way, and I'll never forget it.
You're from New Orleans, you're from Texas, I'm from Australia.
Kenosha, Wisconsin, I think Mark is originally.
Wisconsin. So people like from all over. Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Amy, we should get, Amy, can you get Lena, come here. Can you go get Lena for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it looks like a family picture, doesn't it?
The uncle.
The creepy uncle. Did you expect to meet some of the people you met?
No, not at all. I actually was coming here, I was like, okay, I gotta know that it's gonna be just by myself. People are gonna be only me, but it wasn't that way, and I can't be happier.
And like even just what you guys were saying before, Chris Thornton doing the film.
Right.
We go and help out on it, and it's just
That's right.
this great kind of
That's Mark Ruffalo's movie.
That's awesome.
Mark
Right.
Ruffalo directed it, Chris Thornton wrote it.
And then next thing you know, we're on stage rehearsing with Orlando Bloom and Juliette Lewis.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is just from these guys going, come and help us out, and us going, sure, let's go.
A lot of people want to be affiliated with anything that is part of the American Film Institute. We have great alumni that have gone on to do great things. So a lot of times when I tell people that I went to the American Film Institute, people want a relationship.
Be an intern, maybe at a casting agency, join a theater company.
I know there are tons of, at least for writers, and I'm sure probably for directors, there are tons of groups getting together, once a week to share ideas, who are kind of moving toward the same kind of goal.
Right, and we all grow together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work for free. I would, if Jamie called me up and he wanted me to PA on something, I would PA on it. You know what I mean? Because Jamie knows everybody. I'm going to meet people through him, and you just work with people. The more you work with people, the more they trust you. They get to know you.
The other question, of course, that everybody wants to know is, you make the contact, then what do you do? What do you do? What is it that actually twists their arm?
It would have to be something that just absolutely touches my buttons.
Make sure that the script is good.
A dozen roses involved, Nicole. Yeah, I'll do your movie.
If my leading lady was hot and we had a great lovemaking scene, I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Certainly, this isn't the money involved.
Maybe not so much a joke, but...
People with scripts can get me cheap because I'm a newlywed and my husband is an actor. So literally, my going rate now is you got to put my husband in the movie, and it's got to be a fly part.
Thanks, Adrian.
Hey, sure,
Appreciate it,
Stan.
man. Hey,
My pleasure.
We wanted you to do another film, so we brought you one of the enticements you asked for. This is Maria.
Well, hi, Maria. Thanks for getting me the date with Maria.
No, it's a pleasure.
I'll be glad to do a
Thanks.
documentary.
So you
anytime.
do the movie
Bye.
now, right?
Yeah.
Hi, this is a message from Michael. My name is Stan Harrington. Elaine said that you might be expecting my call. I'm doing a small documentary for independent filmmakers and new filmmakers, and we were really hoping that you might be able to give us like 5 minutes of your time just to answer a couple of really quick questions. God damn it, he wasn't there.
Visit www.energystar.gov and help change the world one light at a time.
I produced a horror film 2 years ago called The Nightmare Man, written by and directed by Ruffalo, that got a theatrical release in 350 screens in the 40 major cities, and we did not have a major name attached.
There's someone out there. Stay away from the window.
Nightmare Men we basically did with it was a small cast. Nobody would touch the film, and then finally we got it to the right person at After Dark Films. They were just started a horror festival called the 8 Films to Die For, and this was the second year, and they accepted Nightmare Man as one of the 8 films. So here was this little movie that suddenly got a 350 screen theatrical release, and is now coming out through Lionsgate on March 18th of 2008.
Horror films are the star. The genre horror in itself is a star, so there's no need for a celebrity or a major name.
Poultry guys still play in 300 theaters across the country, not all at once, one by one by one by one, 15 35mm prints, because there is a market for zombies, even singing and dancing chicken Indian zombies, and even a movie where you have some serious political and sociological satire. Right. People will support it because they want to see zombies.
You quit your sassing, boy. I've pulled you out of your mother, and I'll shove you right back in.
Jethro! Junior!
If the subject matter is very interesting and very appealing, you're able to also do a documentary, without a major celebrity.
I was shooting a documentary called Fighter, and I was following around this unknown guy named Randy Couture.
When I was the guy nobody expected to win, or what nobody was looking at, it kind of freed me up to just kind of go out and take care of business and not worry about a single thing. And that's when I competed best.
So we would go and we would hang out at people's houses, and we would go to different dojos, and he'd be practicing. And I was just seeing this killer fighting machine, and he went on to become the world ultimate fighting champion. And I think he's been the ultimate fighting champion now like 5 different times.
Documentaries need a good subject and an interesting subject and a well-filmed story that doesn't waffle. It's short, it's to the point, and it tells its story very clearly.
We should continue the quest to make the world a better place, especially for our children.
Poignant words from Nelson Mandela, capturing his determination to better the lives of marginalized children. His work will be presented by former President Bill Clinton as one episode in a 13-part made-for-television series.
Every child who dies because of AIDS, for me, it's like a grave in my heart. And
like Nelson Mandela, Maggie Barranquita stands tall as a person of vision and compassion. She discovered her destiny amid the anguish and torment of the ethnic violence that engulfed Burundi and Rwanda in the late 1990s.
Well, the most extraordinary achievement of the documentary, that the clip that you may have just have looked at, is the achievement of this woman in giving children a normal life. It's a celebration of life, rather than taking a documentary that shows how tough it was for these children.
The thing that I loved the most, first of all, at the National Democratic Convention, his speech was so inspiring for me.
I accept your nomination for presidency of the United States.
As I'm looking at this footage, I'm not even seeing the celebrity anymore. What I'm seeing is something much deeper. I'm seeing a generational force wanting so bad to express themselves.
Everyone in the world is so excited about Barack Obama. In France, in Germany, in Sweden, everywhere. It's just so exciting.
You know, it all gets down to content. what is the perspective of the documentary? What are we trying to say? And if you're saying something good enough and something important enough, you're going to get people of status, of name value to come in and want to speak for that.
So Mike, what you're saying is the lesson to learn here is to have amazing content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have amazing content, you're going to attract amazing talent.
Documentaries have a tendency to create their own stars.
I hope I quote this right, but I think I heard Al Pacino say once that the only reason he did film is so he could afford to do theater.
In the late 70s, I think it was my first audition, I was lucky enough to get cast in a Broadway show. I think it was like my first or second audition with Al Pacino in a play called The Basic Training of Pablo Hummel. He had just come off Godfather, Godfather 2 actually, and he was a big star. He needed to do a play. I mean, this guy needs to go into the theater like a bodybuilder needs to go into the gym. You know, films are just not as satisfying for him. And he said to me, he actually said to me one day, if he never became a star, he would have been happy making $300 a week working off Broadway, because that's how much acting meant to him. I mean, it was like in the guy's blood. He would rather be dead than not to act. You know, I mean, I think he would have paid them to keep acting.
I think independent films and theater have a lot in common because people are responding to material and to the possibility of a more creative or artistic point of view about the work.
There aren't great roles. There are not a lot of great roles on camera.
One of the reasons why I'm doing this play is because it presents me with a type of character that I haven't had a chance to do very often.
Most actors are really interested in, not most, but a lot of actors are interested in great roles. That's why we got into it in the first place.
I had the fortunate experience to work with Farrah Fawcett. She heard about this play, and she came to New York to prove something to her public and to herself, that she's more than just a blonde bimbo. And I remember one night she said, let's really be great tonight because Kate's out there. And I was playing around with her, you know. I said, Kate who? She said, Kate Jackson. I said, Kate Jackson? Who's Kate Jackson? She said, didn't you ever watch Charlie's Angels? I said, Charlie's what? I don't watch television. She could absolutely not believe it. And she just started laughing, smiling, and then walked out on stage and got very angry at me in the play. It was one of her best performances.
If you have an opportunity to play a great part, and that's where the opportunity lies, you're going to do it. You're going to want to do it.
I've been acting for 50 years, and I suppose everybody has their idea of what kind of a genre, what kind of a or knows me in the genre they're interested in that I may have been in. As I get older, I want to play different things. I don't have much desire to do something that I've done before.
They're never going to cast me in a film version of Uncle Vanya. I was just doing some Uncle Vanya a couple of weeks ago in another little project. If a writer comes to me with that kind of film and offers me that kind of a role, bam, I'm there. I'm there.
It's about theme, it's about story, it's about role. That's what these people want. That's what they're going for. And if you go to a festival, that's what you're going to see them trying, something different, something challenging.
The culture of the independent film is growing so quickly, and it's attracting mainstream industry and the actors, bringing them in. Right. And there's a lot more creative freedom in the independent films than the studio-based films.
If I get offered a studio film, it's going to be, the Holland Taylor part that I've played already too many times.
I'm done walking into a room and being that cop who asks a bunch of questions.
She's not going to sit down and
you know, read A Christmas in Compton when she got...
You read it.
I did read A Christmas in Compton, and it was all right. But I wasn't going to allow her to read it first because it was titled A Christmas in Compton.
They want to do something to, I think, extend their chops and to prove that they're not just a one-trick pony.
Black girls who wanna commit suicide, color purple, you done told master to beat me. You know, this is, you know, I'm so tired of it. Every time we get a movie, it's about some slaves.
With an independent filmmaker or maybe somebody who's coming from outside the box, they're not necessarily looking at you know, a William Hurt or a John Travolta in the same way that we've come to see these actors be portrayed. And I think that's refreshing for both the actors and for audiences.
A story about Heath Ledger, who just passed recently. He did that flick, 10 Things I Hate About You, which was a really nice little movie, a nice little introduction. That's the first time I saw it. But after that, he just would not do any more of those teen genre flicks. And he was the kind of actor who would go ahead and be hungry for a while, not work for a while, because he wanted to make sure that the next project he worked on had that kind of solidity, and that the script and that the role was something he could feel proud of. He didn't have a bunch of kids to take care of. He didn't have that, so he could wait. Well, the next project that he found did that for him. That's what you have to dangle in front of the name actor that you're trying to get.
So God bless the person that comes up with a wonderful script and gives them, I think of it in terms of giving them an opportunity to do something well. They're not giving me the opportunity, they're helping me sell something. But more than that, you know, they're getting an opportunity to work in something special.
A lot of people don't realize is that sometimes you're not going to get a name on your first try. I actually got a name, I got 3 names on my second try because I had a track record. So going the festival circuit might be a stepping stone to getting that actor that you want.
You take someone who has no experience behind a camera or no real money or no real budget or no real stars or celebrities in the film, but they put every ounce of themselves into a project and they submit it to us. Not only do we watch it, we give it the same judging criteria we would a $1 million film or a $20 million film for that matter, and we let them stand up against each other. That's why Harrington's film Bread and the Bone was able to beat out films that cost $2, $3, $4 million, and this film was under $5,000. What AOF tries to do is say, well, not only are you in, but we're going to watch that film, we're going to promote that film, we're going to promote you. We're going to do everything we can. One way we do that is, early on we made a relationship with a new company called Hollywood Scriptwriter, very good magazine, great people, great stories, and we made a deal with them that they would do profiles on all the winners of our film festival. Now, that guarantees you press months after you've won this festival, because the event is one day, you know, the award show. But for someone to say, I read a story about you, that gives you validity.
We now have won several festivals, and in talking to some of the buyers at the market, and asking point blank, winning these festivals, even though they're smaller festivals, even though this is not Cannes, it's not Sundance, it's not Toronto, is this going to help my sales? Is this going to help me land a good deal? And overwhelmingly, we've been told yes.
It's just another backdoor way as to getting into a position to make yourself more attractive to a name actor or celebrity. It doesn't matter anymore whether it's Sundance or Slamdance or one of the other festivals that maybe isn't held in the same esteem. They're all a challenge now. It's not a done deal just to get in. And when you look at them, I mean, in the block that my short played in, we had an Oscar-nominated actress, we had David Morse, and there was the guy from Scrubs, can't remember his name, but there were name actors in all these shorts. So when you look at festivals now, whether they're in their first year or in their 10th year, they're littered with these guys. What people have overlooked here, it's not to put down the lighting or the picture or any of that stuff. What it really means is that someone like Holland Taylor or John Saxon or any of these people that have appeared in movies that have cost $100 million have worked with these technicians before. They've got that. They can do that, but they're still going to get cast in a typical role.
I did a movie that's called Dogma 95 genre, and it's where you shoot. There's 3 cameras rolling at the same time. The actors don't know the script. It's all improv, and there's certain rules that you have to abide by. Sound has to be exactly what it is, what you shoot. There's nothing can be done in post to enhance it or change it or lay looping or anything like that. What you shoot is what the movie has to be. And I thought that was an interesting project for me to do at the time. I said, wow, this would be and it's shot in like 2 or 3 days. In about 2 or 3 days. It was actually one of the most exciting experiences I've ever had in front of a camera.
Mate. I feel like throwing this phone away. Jesus.
I think that low-budget movies are probably more responsible for any success I've had as an actor than any big studio pictures that I've ever made. Early on, you know, some of the things I did, one of the first pictures I made was Reservoir Dogs with Quentin Tarantino, and I didn't know who Quentin was. I just knew that it was a really interesting script. And also, I really wanted to work with Harvey Keitel. And I mean, you know, you get involved in things for certain personal reasons that don't usually have anything to do with money, especially on a low-budget picture like that. But I mean, look what happened with the damn thing. I mean, you know, I've done, I think, 73 or 74 pictures by now. And still, anybody who, you know, primarily... most people the only thing they want to talk to me about is Reservoir Dogs. Hey, what really happened in the ear scene, you know? You know, how did you do that? Why did you do that? I have this theory that I could probably come up with a cure for cancer, and if I was at a press conference to announce my medical findings, then undoubtedly there would be someone who would stand up and say, you know, Michael, this is really good, and we're very pleased about, you know, your medical breakthrough. It's all great, but what's it like working with Quentin Tarantino? You know, and I mean, it's pretty ironic and it's pretty strange, but it shows you the power of that a low budget film can have. I mean, these little movies can be more memorable and do better than a studio picture, you know? I mean, they could be more memorable than a big studio movie. And with someone who spent $80 or $90 million on some damn thing that, you know, people will forget 15 minutes after they see it.
Do you, so really then the question becomes, what do you think is the best way to approach an actor like yourself, a celebrity or a name? Do you think it's better to go through an agent, or like I knew the guy who played my dad, knew Elaine knew you. After a series of phone calls, eventually, you know, we got through. I mean, is that the best way?
Well, I mean, it's always been, it's been my experience that I mean, you know, it's always better to meet somebody, and it's always better to get to know somebody. Like if you already know somebody and they know somebody you know, I mean, I end up getting more work like that than I have ever done with an agent or a manager. Is that helicopter killing you?
No.
I'm
gonna keep that too.
I'm used to that. It's so neurotic. I'm a movie-making machine, and there's any given moment of the day. I'm always conscious of
sounds,
wherever I'm looking, and what sounds are around me. It's very strange. You know, you also develop a very keen sense of others, after you've done a lot of movies, you know, because it's your job to really to read people emotionally, and you're surrounded by so many people on a set, and there's so many fucking people around you during the making of a shooting of scenes that, you know, you really gotta, you know, there's so many personalities that you interact with that you subconsciously you train yourself to emotionally read and deal with people, and you know, after a while it starts to creep into your personal life, you know, and you become like a walking open nerve, you know what I mean? It's like you're really what's always surprised me is when people, I'll be standing in an elevator or I'll be getting in a car or something, and there'll be people, you know, a couple of feet behind me, and they'll be talking about me, having a conversation about me. And how do they think that I can't hear them? You know what I mean? It's so amazing to me. I mean, I know I'm super sensitive to things around me, but it's always been amazing to me that people can be so unawares of their own presence in a room. Right. Or, you know, people will be arguing, that's him. No, that ain't him. He would never be here. No, that's not him. Or they'll say, oh, Jesus, you know, he's fat. He's kind of big, yeah. Jesus, he's fucking huge. Look at him, you know. I say, oh, geez, oh, he looks great. Well, he lost a lot of weight, you know. I just want to see if I look fat.
Oh, you look great.
I'm a little fat.
You are not a little fat.
I'm a little beefy. I'm concerned because I'm fatter than I was yesterday. And I don't know if it's going to match. Yeah, the question of approaching me has always been like, I'm open to anything. I mean, I get myself in trouble sometimes because I pretty much, you know, I mean, if I was encouraged to turn down Reservoir Dogs because I was told that it was a first-time director and it was a script that nobody understood, and all these guys, they all kill each other at the end of the movie. And, you know, nobody ever seen that kind of thing before. And if I had said no and I wouldn't have done it, I mean, God, I would have regretted it for the rest of my life, right? So I don't, I definitely get a lot of garbage, but I always try to look at everything. I mean, if I am leaving here this afternoon and some guy passes me in the lobby and says, oh, shit, you're Michael Madsen. Listen, my brother wrote a screenplay. He was thinking of you. Chances are I'm going to call him back, or at least I will give him an address to send it. I mean, because you never know, right?
Right.
And we're all in the same boat, and we're all in the same business. I mean, it kind of happened that way, even for this thing, because I didn't know who Stan was, but I heard some of the messages you left, and I could sort of tell, and I understood what you were trying to do, and if whatever I've done, you know, is of value to the filmmaking process for someone who's trying to make a picture, well, then I'd like to lend myself into that situation.
I just think it's a real treat that we're here with you today because you are the connection we had to Michael Madsen. And I think that the reason I really wanted to do this interview, other than the fact that you're a fascinating filmmaker and documentarian yourself, is the fact that we actually never met before we made the connection. And there's so many ways that we talk about in the documentary about how to make that contact. I just thought that this was a really interesting experience, that we did it all through email and contacts. And I wanted, perhaps if you wanted to talk a little bit about that and how we made the connection.
Well, it was my sympathy for a fellow documentary maker who was having a problem, the same problem that I have run into on the documentary I'm working on right now, is how do you get to someone that you know will enrich your story and their people won't, you can't get past them.
Right. What the key elements were that made you say, in this case, okay, I'll make the call. One was obviously the respect you had for Michael.
Yeah, but the respect I had for Michael Donnelly,
Right.
as a person who would never lean on our friendship for something that wasn't worthy.
Right.
I knew if he was really your good friend, that it would be up to you and Michael whether the interview ever got in touch with.
Right.
But at least I could tell Michael that You know, that you could call him at his office, and then it worked out for you.
I loved Reservoir Dogs, but I felt like it really kind of backed me into a corner, and it made me predominantly thought of as just, being a really good villain.
Right.
And, it took me a couple of years to appreciate the fact that I was going to be thought of as anything, and to be goddamn glad about it, It's only been in the last 2 years that I've actually been able to really do anything of any significance in any other kind of parts. I finally got to play a prize fighter. I played an Irish-American prize fighter in a picture called Strength and Honor. And I was the father in the movie. It's a very dramatic, emotional picture, and I'm the good guy in the movie. And it's done a lot for me emotionally, just knowing that I fucking did it. And I don't even care if it comes out and makes any money. I did it, and it's there. Maybe it's all meant to happen.
Rated R.
Strength and Honor. Oh my God! That was a movie that was one of the scripts that Michael asked me to read, and they wanted him for the part of the villain. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's a wonderful villain. But I read the script and I said, the only role you should play in this movie is the father.
Right.
You don't need to do that. And so it took many rounds of dialogue, and Michael did turn it down. I understand from Mark Mahon, the writer-director, was he turned it down 3 times. And finally, they offered him the father.
Right.
And when they did offer him the father, that's what he's waiting for.
That's awesome.
And it's one of the richest roles that I think Michael has had a chance to do. They get to see that side of Michael.
And then I went and I did, I played a father of my daughter gets kidnapped by a pedophile, and I spend the movie chasing this guy. And then I went from there to, I played an ex-Major League Baseball player who is retired. He turns into a drunk, and he has a 14-foot tapeworm in his stomach. And it's, a comedy. It's a big comedy. And then I went from there to playing a priest in a fucking movie. And just, 1 month, I did 3 movies back to back with these really diversive
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually the last question is that when you do commit, like say somebody gets to you, they found you, you've given them 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
What is it that actually twists your arm? The reason I say that's an interesting lead-in is because nearly everybody has been saying it's not the money, it's the role. But, I mean, I don't know what it is for you. But
I wasn't highly paid for the 3 ones that I just mentioned. Especially the first 2 of those, but it was the idea that I could portray a father with a heart and who's after a killer. And I even there's a scene where I have a gun and I have to pretend I don't know how to work it. I don't know how to shoot a gun. And it was really, really, it was a wonderful feeling to be challenged by something and to actually feel like I was really acting and I was really, I mean, my God, I couldn't even count if I tried how many guns I've fired or how many times I'm the guy with the gun in a movie with a cigarette and the fucking gun. And, I loved the idea that I was playing a guy who didn't know how to shoot a gun. And it was really, it's one of the reasons I took the part. And I'm chasing this pedophile all through the movie. And when I finally get a chance to get him, I try to overpower him by beating him with a tree limb that I break off a tree. And the comedy thing, I mean, they didn't have a lot of money for me, but how many times in my life am I going to be offered the next Major League Baseball player with a 14-foot tapeworm in his belly? I mean, it was hysterical. It was really fucking funny. And they put a mullet on me, and I got to be younger. They made me 15 years younger so that I could go and do the baseball scenes, and I had a Blue Jays Major League Baseball, and I win the World Series, and I got a World Series ring. I'm in the locker room, you know, with all the guys. They're like, yeah, and they're dumping champagne on me and everything. I was like, yeah. And I actually got to live this moment of that, you know. And I mean, wow, that was what was exciting about it. And then I got to be the guy who's, you know, 70 years old, and he's all mad because that goddamn tapeworm is gonna get me sooner or later. I'm gonna drop dead for this goddamn thing. And I thought I could pickle it out of my body if I drank enough whiskey, but that ain't working. God damn it, I'm gonna die anyway. And it was fun. It was fun to do it. It was fun to hear everybody laughing, and it didn't have nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money.
We have dreams just like you have dreams, and you never know if those dreams can mesh. So don't be afraid to get your hustle on.
Even me, I've been in situations when I'm on a film and when I take a role and then I'm on the set and I'm like, this is not going to turn out good. They haven't lit it well. This is crap. What would you do in that situation?
Well, it's funny because when you do small, no-budget films, you have to anticipate that some of those problems are going to exist because you're not working with seasoned vets and stuff. But there is a limit. And you may not be interested in working with that person the next time because of how they ran the set on the first time. So you have to be very conscious of getting as skilled people as you can. And if not that experienced, at least people that are willing to help out and also to be set friendly.
You got any tip for any budding filmmakers?
I would just say not to ever let anybody tell you that you can't do it. I would say don't ever let anybody say that you can't follow your dream. The director of Strength and Honor was in a hospital, paraplegic, told that he was never going to walk again when he wrote Strength and Honor.
Wow.
And he ended up getting up out of that bed, and not only did he write the movie, but he directed it.
And I said, this is Morgan Freeman, I have to remember, right? And I said, it's a long story. But he said to me, what happened? Will you be okay? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll be fine. Just in case, I'll say a special prayer for you tonight.
Beautiful.
Do you know what I mean? What a legend, honestly. The man is fantastic. So we had this fantastic conversation, and I said to him, look, I said, I'm going to ask you a question. If you don't want to answer it, you don't have to answer it, but I would appreciate it if you would answer it for me. What's the secret of Hollywood? And he looked me straight in the face, just like I'm looking you straight in the face, and he said to me, focus. Show them that you have it, and they'll follow you to the ends of the earth.
Anything can be done. Honestly, anything can be done. And I've learned that from Stan. No, I have. I mean, look what you've done, honestly. I have to say that, really.
Give me this camera.
Give it to him.
Okay. This is D-Rod.
John Q filmmaker right here.
This is called documentary filmmaking.
Filmmaker.
This is reality live. This is D-Rod. He's the guy holding the camera, so now you know who's doing it. All right, there.
All right. Is that it? We done now? Okay. All right, enough of this documentary shit. Let's make a fucking movie.
One other thing as well, Stan, I don't know, but I actually heard that you wanted to have a word with Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel.
Do you want me to get him for you?
I would take him now, but we got Mike.
Can you get it? Can you? Can you get it?
Well,
do you know him?
Be very surprised who I can get at this stage. No.
That actually is so great, though. I mean, just him saying that, having that in the end, like, I'm gonna get him for you. That is like the best, button of the
That's what I wanted to do it I wanted to do it intentionally, just as a little kind of, if you could send up with that.
That's awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah, I better say it properly. Stan, I heard someone actually said to me that you're actually looking for Harvey Keitel. Do you want me to get him for you?